Sefris of the Hidden Ways. This is my altered precon. So I'm just looking to get Sefris's ability here as much as possible. So once each turn, meaning trying to activate it on everyone else's turn as well. Then whenever I complete a dungeon, I can reanimate a creature. I also like that this looks like Aang. The arrow and the staff. Start with creatures. So again, we're looking to put at least one creature into our grave from anywhere each turn. That way we get the most venture triggers. This guy, I think, has been errated, whatever, to a 2/2. It's not a 2/3. Little enchantment removal. And when I sacrifice it, it triggers Sefris, of course. Let's draw a card. Good blocker. This, I can just turn it into a copy of one of my other creatures that's either I want to die or that's beneficial. Draw cards. Draw cards. Venture into the dungeon. Now, the updates for this deck I tried to keep in the D&D set. Draw cards. A little bit reanimate. Also triggers Sefris when I sacrifice it. So that came in the precon though. Sacrifice outlet, so I can trigger on multiple people's turns. Also reanimation, which is pretty sweet. Blade Crafter, a little interaction. Everybody sack a creature. This was one I added, of course. Making dungeons trigger additional time. It's really good. When it enters, I get to venture into the dungeon, which will increase the speed at which I get through the dungeons, so I can reanimate more often. This one's really fun. I've yet to play with this guy yet. I think it's going to be really good. I'll either draw a bunch of cards or I'll get to do a bunch of reanimation. Or it goes from my hand to the field. Again, I haven't played with this guy yet, so might be a bit of a learning curve there. Venture and reanimation. If I've completed a dungeon. Interaction. Take their stuff. Sad robot. A little bit of control. Almost more venture into the dungeon. This one is when it enters. This one is when it dies. Karmic Guide. More reanimation. Mind Flayer. A little bit of control. Somebody puts out a big thumper, you can just take it. Shriekmaw, the evoke trigger is mostly what it's for. The non-artifact, non-black creature has been kind of rough recently because everybody's been playing those, so I haven't evoked it in a bit. But the evoke trigger gives me a Sefris trigger, which lets me venture into the dungeon, which means maybe I can reanimate something that turn. Mold Drifter is great, just lets me draw cards for 3. And I get a Sefris trigger off of it, which is awesome. And this goes right along with Sefris. I'm trying to kill my creatures, and this lets me venture in additional time if I've killed a creature on my turn. Sun Titan, just straight up value in this deck. It's great. Kokosho, it's the all-star of the deck pretty much. This is basically the way I try to win mostly, if I can draw it or come across it somehow. Radiant Solar for even more venturing into the dungeon. Meteor Golem for a little interaction with the reanimate there. Same thing with Ashen Rider. This is just a big reanimation target. Some enchantments. Propaganda came with it. Thorough Investigation came with it. Just more venture into the dungeon. Warlock class. Just helps hopefully speed up the game a little bit. If I can get it to the end here. I just added this, which is going to be great because it makes my dungeons room abilities trigger an additional time. I haven't been through the new Baldur's Gate set yet completely, so I haven't looked at what cards I might try to add to it from that set. Just the only equipment in the deck lets me venture into the dungeon, of course. Then a sacrifice outlet, and lets me draw a card. Instants and sorceries. Figured since the deck comes with Swords to Plowshares, I would just add Path to Exile. D-Spark's pretty good. Revivify is pretty sweet. Add the number of creature cards put into your graveyard to the result, which is pretty awesome. Another reanimation spell. Lets me trigger Sefris off of this one. Counter spell lets me venture into the dungeon. I thought that was cool. More exile. Reanimation. And this one, I'm looking to hopefully make a ton of copies of Kokosho, which is the best way to use this in this deck. But I've used it to copy other things too. So a little bit of board wipe, and then reanimate at the end. Clone Legion. It's just super fun. Make a copy of everything I control or somebody else controls. Board wipe, and then I get to put something from my hand onto the battlefield. It's pretty sweet. Mana Rocks. This is my favorite one. It's pretty fun. Bucknard's Ever Full Purse. As long as it's never left empty, this magic pouch produces coins every dawn. Dungeon map. Got 19 basic lands. I swapped most of them out for foils. Really, really pretty. I love the flavor text lands. They're really cool. And then non-basics, I got 36 lands total. And these two are the best utility ones. So there we go. Gets me Sefris triggers. Gets me Sefris triggers. Alright. So that was the deck list. And then typically I'll start off venturing into the Lost Mine of the Fandover, because that one's short and it gives me card advantage and whatnot. I don't really use the Dungeon of the Mad Mage because it's the longest dungeon, and then when it's getting to the end game, I tend to switch to the Tomb of Annihilation to help finish out the game with the making everybody lose life and sack creatures and do all that fun stuff. Alright. Well, if there's any cards that I missed or that you think I should add, leave them in the comments below. Thank you.